Hey guys, Invincible Iron 163 here, and I'm recording. What? Okay, I'm here with another reaction to. What is this video called again? Yeah, let's see. 11 bizarre and terrifying early versions of famous characters. There must be a bunch of them. Whoa. Okay. Let's get started. Copyright. Yeah, enough of that. Let me turn this up a little bit.
The old saying goes that nothing beats the original.
Yeah.
Well, thank God these characters were redesigned, or else they might not have been as famous or well known as they are now. After all, nobody can really get it right the first time. I mean, for the few of you who saw my older videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The first step towards being good at something is to be absolutely terrible at it. So today, we're going to take a look at bizarre and terrifying early versions of famous characters.
First, but then I'm gonna get better. That's a fact, Jack.
Number 11. Mr. Clean. Before Mr. Clean's hilarious Facebook page, he was actually portrayed live action by a human in the 1960s. The harsh shadows makes Mr. Clean look unintentionally threatening,
That's not my
and even his smile just screams evil.
Excuse me, lady. The floor cleaning doesn't have to be that tough.
Professor Xavier, like freaking Charles Xavier more than Mr. Clean.
Fortunately, it was later decided that Mr. Clean should lose the suit and become a friendly-looking cartoon character with the same earring.
That is what I'm a day, though.
10. The Frankenstein Monster. His very first appearance was in a 1910 silent film. He looked incredibly different and actually sort of terrifying, looking more like an undead creature than a mad experiment gone wrong. Interestingly enough, the film was believed to be a lost film for many years. It wasn't until the 1950s when a Wisconsin film collector, unbeknownst to its rarity, purchased the movie. Its existence was revealed in the 1970s, and even though the film deteriorated, it was still viewable. The most well-known image of Frankenstein came out in the 1930s. Had the first silent film not fallen into obscurity, it's possible that this would have been the definitive Frankenstein monster.
It looks like a combination between Uncle Fester
Number
and
9.
Larry.
The Hamburglar. During his prime, the Hamburglar was a fun young character who was always trying to steal all the hamburgers for himself. Despite this, he was always an important character in the McDonaldland community, and was even friends with Ronald McDonald. However, during the 70s, he looked more like the dastardly arch-rival to Ronald McDonald. He was taller, creepier, older, even at one point becoming a crucified swing for children. It wasn't until the 80s when he was given a more kid-friendly design. That is until 2015 when the Hamburglar was redesigned again into a grown masked man wearing a fedora. Sorry, 80s kids.
It's kind of worse.
8. Ronald McDonald. If the Hamburglar wasn't enough, Ronald McDonald also looked pretty creepy back in the day. Some could argue that he looks just as scary now as he did all those years ago. Maybe clowns are just forever terrifying, but in this case, the crappy TV quality is what makes it way worse. Take away the crappy TV quality, and he's still terrifying. Take, for instance, the first time we meet him. He's just in the dark, watching TV, before turning around and addressing the kids with his super creepy deep voice.
Here I am, kids. Hey, isn't watching TV fun? Especially when you got delicious McDonald's hamburgers.
Another early incarnation of Ronald McDonald featured his own set of dolls that you can tickle, squeeze, and take anywhere according to the commercial.
I don't even know what that thing is.
At least it's not as bad as the new Happy Meal box.
Yeah.
Number 7. Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima first originated from a song called Old Aunt Jemima by African-American songwriter Billy Crescents. It became his most popular song. So when Aunt Jemima's pancake flour first appeared all the way back in 1889, she looked absolutely terrifying. And it stayed that way even after the civil rights movement. It wasn't until 1989 when she was redesigned to a new, non-incredibly racist, friendly neighbor-like look.
6. From Aladdin. Animator Eric Goldberg was the one behind the design for the genie.
Not Genie. He already looks like Robin Williams.
In fact, some believe he based the design of the genie on Jewish stereotypes. Some of the earlier artwork looks very different from the genie we all know and love. The most bizarre being the sinister-looking one with sharply pointed nose, wide menacing grin, and monstrous teeth. It's hard imagining what Aladdin would be like if this genie made it into the movie. He almost looks more like a villain rather than a comic relief character. In the end, the artist finally created a genie with Robin Williams' voice in mind, thus giving birth to the eccentric and comedic genie we all know and love. It's even more difficult imagining this genie being voiced by Robin Williams.
Number 5. E.T. In 2014, special makeup effects artist Rick Baker released early concept versions of the character E.T. Spielberg was in the works of another alien-themed project titled Night Skies, which would have featured 11 distinctly different aliens. Night Skies was never made, and some of its material was used in later films. The horrifying, nightmare-causing aliens would ultimately become E.T. The difference is quite remarkable. This older incarnation of E.T. seemed more adult-like, with longer arms, legs, and eyes that just kind of stared into your soul. Rick Baker even jokingly called them E.T.'s dad.
4. Darth Maul.
No.
Darth Maul is already such a scary-looking guy. How bad could his early artwork be? Well, this character was designed by the concept designer Ian McCaig. He recalled George Lucas describing Maul as a figure from your worst nightmare. So, McCaig thought about his worst nightmare, and then used those to design an initial look for the character. McCaig described his worst nightmare as a lifeless face pressed against a window in a thunderstorm, a dead yet alive figure who stares at him through the rain. McCaig used that as the first design, adding metal teeth, blood-red stripes of hair, and goldish blue skin. Lucas apparently thought it was too intense, saying, "Okay, now draw me your second worst nightmare."
Number 3. The Michelin Man. This lovely character belongs to the Michelin Tire Company, and was first conceived by Edouard and André Michelin, the two brothers who founded the company. In 1894, Edouard noticed a stack of tires and thought that he could maybe make a mascot out of it. Several years later, the most terrifying Michelin Man was born. This model was a beer-drinking, cigar-smoking giant stack of tires with barely a face. Here he is, standing next to an advertising vehicle used in Santa Clara in 1926. And here he is again in some type of tire parade. Eventually, the Michelin Man would evolve to a more friendlier, athletic build, with a face and even a smile.
Yeah, so you can say the old one retired. Tough crowd.
Two. Mickey and Minnie Mouse costumes. These designs date back as far as the 1930s, when they were already a little terrifying. But nothing is as bad as the costumes used during the 1950s when Disneyland first opened. They first started off awkwardly tall and thin, with slit eyes and long, unsettling mouths. Walt Disney realized that his cartoon designs wouldn't really translate well into real life, so they were redesigned with deep scars and cuts. It wasn't just Minnie and Mickey's costumes that looked horrifying. Some of the other characters looked pretty unusual too. Thankfully, they quickly fixed the issue before inducing more nightmares into the minds of their young customers, let alone their parents.
Number 1. Kermit the Frog. In 1957, Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets, was tasked with producing a commercial for Wilkins Coffee. It was then when Jim Henson created one of the earliest incarnations for Kermit the Frog, known as Wilkins. Wilkins was a smiling greenish puppet who loved Wilkins Coffee. So much so that he even murdered and assaulted his friend Wonkins for not liking it.
What?
Let's take a look at some of his best work.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, buddy, what do you think of Wilkins Coffee? I never tasted it. Now, what do you think of Wilkins?
I like it. I love
Care
it.
for a cup of Wilkins coffee? No, I don't like coffee. This has been a public service. You know, people who don't drink Wilkins coffee just blow up sometimes. Oh, that's a lot of... See what I mean? This machine will make you want a cup of Wilkins coffee. Not me. Oh, take mine with cream and sugar.
Yeah.
Want some Wilkins coffee with your strawberry shortcake? Can't say that I do. You can't say that you don't, either.
It's not that bad.
On guard, salute Wilkins coffee. But I don't drink Wilkins coffee. Some learn, some don't.
What?
Any last request? Like for a cup of Wilkins coffee? No. You don't drink Wilkins?
No.
Shocking. If you don't start drinking Wilkins coffee, I'll make you into two befores. I should have saw this coming. He always was a cut-up. I love these Wilkins coffee commercials, don't you? I'm tired of them. Just kidding, Mr. Wilkins.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like down below.
Hold on.
Take mine with cream and sugar.
Just gotta point this out.
Want some Wilkins coffee with your strawberry shortcake? Can't say that I do. You can't say that you don't, either. On guard, salute Wilkins coffee. But I don't drink Wilkins coffee. Some were and some don't.
That's blood. You freaking... Okay, whatever you said, Kermie. Freaking... Nope, done with that. Oh yeah. Shout out to... I forgot I said I'll do this. Shout out to Artist Mama 163. Told I was gonna give him a shout out. Wait, did I say him? No, I was give them a shout out because technically both of them. Loves you, Mama. Loves you, Daddy. Loves y'all. See you later. Gotta call my mom. I'm scared after this. I gotta call my mama.